All right, sir, I think we are live. Let me just double check here. I think after all these interviews, I'd be able to get this. Yes, we are live. Welcome everyone to Meet the Masters. Tim Watson here, joined today by Master Ben Harper. Hello, sir. Good evening, right? Afternoon, evening?
Afternoon. It's 4 p.m. here. Thanks very much for having me on, Sabinem. It's a pleasure to be here. Big fan of the series, and yeah, looking forward to chatting to people. Awesome.
Yeah, it's it's one of those. It's great. Like, I get to see who shares things, and I know that your club page has shared a lot of the interviews, and the announcements. So I appreciate the support.
No problem, sir. Easy to you.
Yeah. So wow, we already have people saying hello. Natalie Walker, Master Reed, and Master Silk chiming in, saying hello.
Hello, 7Ms. How are you?
And I was mentioning that earlier. I get a lot of support from all over the world, but it's awesome to see the support from the Great Britain Tang Sudo. They're always sharing and chiming in. Lindsay Dudgeon and Natalie, they're always watching.
Yeah, top fans. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, there you go. Top fans. Always. So how are you, sir? We chatted, and you said you got a chance to go on holiday for a little bit.
Yeah. Come back from the Mediterranean for a little break with my fiance. Went out there for a week. Very, very much needed R&R. Back to the grindstone though. Straight back into work on the Saturday. 16-hour shift Saturday, 16-hour shift to Sunday, and then an easy 9-hour shift yesterday, and then today here we are. So got a well-deserved day off, and then hopefully going training tonight as well. So very much looking forward to that. And then another day off tomorrow, and then back to it on Thursday. So very nice rest and relaxation, but straight back into it. So no rest for the wicked, eh?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to me on your day off.
No, not at all. Pleasure, absolute pleasure.
And on top of that, you said 16-hour days, and then you've got we were talking about your commute, where you got about a 4-hour commute, so you're basically gone all day.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It helps I've got insomnia, so that's always a good sign. But it's just what it is. Sometimes police work is very either sort of feast or famine, really. You're either really, really busy because there's lots of stuff going on, or there's not a lot going on, so you can sort of take it easy a little bit and catch up. But yeah, it's love my job. Can't see myself doing anything else.
So. And so you said you're going to get a chance to train tonight.
I am. Tuesday night, Mastercard special, 2 hours. Looking forward to it. So should be good fun.
Is that going to be in person?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're back. So in England, the COVID regulations and rules have relaxed a little bit now. So it's going to be going over there, training, no mask on, having a good time, unless we're doing one set or fighting, and then we have to put a mask on for that. Okay. But going out there and key upping again, which is amazing, because we haven't been able to key up through the COVID regulations because obviously it's there. Right. But yeah.
Maybe talk about dealing with training and teaching through COVID. I'm sure you were one of many doing Zoom classes.
It's been tough. My classes were massively reduced. We only ended up training once a week at the school because one of the leisure centres I teach at just completely shut their doors to me. And I was just like, no, not at all. We were sending them risk assessments like every couple of weeks, every 3 weeks. They still weren't having it. But thankfully now, doors are back open. Class opens properly again on the 20th. Looking forward to it. So can't wait.
Master Chapel says, afternoon, Sabanims. Good to see Master Benny Benito from the Bronx.
Yeah. Cheers, George. Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Master Wiskin says, good afternoon. And Master Don says, afternoon, Sabanims.
Oh, bless. Afternoon, Sabanims. Hope you're well.
Everyone's tuning in to support.
Oh,
no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure at all, yeah.
Awesome. So talk to us about... And actually, I don't know how old are you, Master Harper?
I'm 36. I'm 36. So it's not embarrassing just yet, but yeah, I'm 36 years old.
Hey, I just turned 41 on Saturday, so
hey, congratulations, well done, happy birthday.
Yeah. So, talk to us about how did you get your start in the martial arts?
My start probably came around a little bit different to what a lot of people expect. So back in the day, I was a massive fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a huge fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And my sister and I were playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. She was Shredder, so she had like a metal colander or a strainer on her head, and she was chasing me up the stairs, and I was Raphael, and I turned around and I did probably the best front kick in my entire life, but hit her in the face, and bless her heart, I knocked her 2 front teeth out. She was 4, I was 6. And then at that point, my mum and dad went, right, martial arts, and just been here ever since. Bless her heart. Don't worry, she got a cuddly toy after going to the dentist, so she was okay. But yeah, that's how I essentially started, was my love of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and what was a half decent front kick. So that got me started.
You know, it's funny doing these interviews, and there's definitely shows and movies that are generational. So like
absolutely, yeah.
the Kung Fu, Bruce Lee, then you got like Karate Kid, and then like you're like 36, like your age, like Master Miguel Soto from California. He said the same thing: Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Surf Ninjas.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. So where did you first start training?
So I first started training in a very small town in the middle of Cambridgeshire. It was about 80, 90 miles north of London. A small town, lived here my entire life. Got about probably 10,000 population, about 10,000. Now it's a little bit bigger, it's about 20,000 now. But with a guy called Colin Cotton, and he used to train with Master Khan way back in the day in the 70s with Muda Kwan. And they were both gut grades together. I think Master Khan was red belt, while Mr. Cotton was a brown belt at the time. God rest his soul, Mr. Cotton's not with us anymore though. He passed away through COVID, unfortunately, last year. So a great blow. So yeah.
So how was do you have any memories of those early days of training?
Yeah, lots of memories of early days of training. So I started training in 1992, which feels like a lifetime ago, 25 odd years, no, more than that.
Yeah, come on, man. Ago. Next year is 30 years.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Yeah, a long time. It was very hard training. It was very hard. But it was basics, and it was working on the foundations an awful lot. So it was stances, it was proper chamber, proper execution. Key-ups had to be on point. It was very, very hard, repetitive. But there's also certain things we did back then, like all the way through my gut testings, I did breaking. All the way through gut testings, they were breaking. Competitions, we didn't wear head guards. Mouthpieces weren't mandatory. If you drew blood in competition, that wasn't illegal. That was just a point, or sorry, 2 points it was for a kick to the head. So back then it was very, very hard training, very hard. But you know, it fills you with a bit of sort of granite to sort of go forward and know that you could take a hit as well as sort of give it out, which was essentially mandatory. But back in those days in England, it was like, it doesn't matter if you were 7 years old like I was at the time, or if you was 37, you sparred, and it was more, I wouldn't say full contact, semi-contact, but there was sort of actual contact that we would do. And if you put a kick here nowadays, wonderful point, but that wasn't a point back in the day. It had to make contact. So yeah, it was hard, but it was really, really enjoyable. Obviously, we've moved on a lot from those times, thankfully, but very, very hard training. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Now, as far as classes went back in that day, were there kids classes, or were you just training with the adults, or?
All the same, kids and adult classes. And the minute you got to like 11 or 12, you were put into the adult lines or started fighting the adults, which then further sort of cemented that hit and sort of hit them and not get hit sort of mentality that we had to try and develop. But yeah, it was very much sort of mixed classes all the way through the time when I was a gut grade.
Gotcha. Now, probably in your house, you said that the mouthpiece wasn't mandatory, but it probably was in your house since you kicked your parents probably didn't want another kid.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Shredder never wore a mouthpiece, so it wouldn't have been accurate to the films, would it? So, so that's the only way we can Talk about it.
Now, with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, what was your favorite weapon?
Oh, the Raphael, the size,
Yeah.
all day long, the size now. Yeah, absolutely. But as I got a bit older, I fancy a little bit of Leonardo, a bit of the old swords.
Yeah.
I think are the best ones. But Raphael, he was the bad boy, weren't he? So that's all I wanted to be like. Too goody two shoes now though to be Raphael anymore. So
let's see. Pam Russell says hello from Region 5. We got Master Mike Allen says hello. Lindsay Dudgeon said for her it was Power Rangers.
Oh, that was a little bit later.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah. Lindsay showing her youth there.
Let's see. Tatiana Klein says good afternoon. Sophie Lennon says I love the old school training. Yeah. Master Marco says hey buddy.
Hey, so him.
And Master Olson says hello from California.
Hello, sir.
Everyone checking us out. Master Khan is watching and messaged me on WhatsApp. He sent me, I don't know if I can get this.
Yeah, that photo. Yeah, I'm middle guy there. That was my first Europeans competition, 1997, I want to say. Yeah, I was 12 years old and I just won first place in weapons. Proudest moment of my life, winning my first, the proudest moment up to that point.
Up to that point.
Gold. Yeah, winning your first gold at Europeans was pretty special. 12 years old, I absolutely loved it. Yeah. So,
were you much of a competitor coming up through the ranks?
Much, yeah. I love competing. It was something I loved to do, and really strived and tried to apply myself as much as I possibly could for it. It was more like, so what I loved was the fact that it was the build up. The training would get more and more intense. You'd be asking more and more of your body to go through, really preparing for it both physically and mentally before you go in the ring. And essentially, I'm not sure how much it works. Well, I'm sure it's the same everywhere, to be fair. But you go into the ring and you really go for it, push each other to the absolute limit, kicking, punching, all the rest of it. Then afterwards, you're still friends and you leave all the animosity in the ring, and then you're still mates afterwards, which is I've got a real solid core group of people I've competed my entire sort of career through that massively helped me out. And a couple of things as well is my dad always used to say to me, we never go to make up the numbers. We never go there just to be there. We'd always go there to win. And he'd even pull me out of school a day before so we can do extra training, so playing hooky from school, to train even more, to really get the forms down, get the sparring down, and make sure that we were good to go for the Saturday. So yeah, I took it. I really did enjoy it. It was the sort of how I saw it was obviously going through the ranks. You don't really appreciate the bigger picture. It's all about that instant, at that moment. I wanted to be boom. I wanted to be up there. I wanted to make people proud of me. I wanted to make my dad proud of me. I wanted to make Master Khan proud of me. Everyone proud of me that, look, I'm on this top step thanks to you. It was never about me. It was all about other people. So, yeah, very much enjoyed it.
Excellent. Obviously, you mentioned the European Championships. Master Khan just sent me a picture of, you'll have to tell me the year, of you were runner-up at World Championships?
Oh, yes, sir, it was, yeah.
Was that 2006 or
I want to say 2006. Yeah, I was running up World Championships. I got 2 first places and second place at the Worlds. Second place in my sword to an exceptional master, actually, absolutely exceptional master. I think we drew on initial score, and then after the adding of the highest and lowest, I think he beat me by 0.1. Wow. So it was Mr. Mohammed Mabruk, absolute legend of a master. Yeah,
one of my best friends.
Yes, sir. Yeah, he's a good boy.
Yeah, I just saw him. Master Chappell's he's got the dates for me. He said 2004. We're in Orlando.
Oh, 2004. Wow, wishing my time away. There you go.
I knew it was somewhere in there. Yeah. Yeah. Talk about like you said, a legend. Just unbelievable motivation for me. And I loved watching him compete. I remember the first time I got to compete with him, I was the first on, and they put the first, Choey and Sam in the same ring at regionals. and I got up against him at sparring. And I was
Yeah.
happy I got 1 point. So, so was that your first World Championships in 2004?
No, that was my. He counts his badges.
Oh, there you go.
Fourth,
You got the
fourth. That was my fourth.
fourth.
World
Wow.
Championships. Fourth one, yeah. It was my fourth one, yeah. So I've been 98, 2000, 2002, and 2004, and 2010. 10 was my last competition. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
What was do you remember the first time walking into World Championships, the just taking that in?
Not really. I was
Yeah.
I was 12. Where would I have been? About 13 years old. I'd been about 13 years old, trained hard for it and just pumped up, ready to go. It was just like ignore everything else, just get on with the job. You know, back in those days, Team GB were the only ones that came in, and we came in singing the anthem and all the rest of it, feeling part of the group, just sort of ready to go, and putting my music on. My dad taking me to a side, having a word with me, getting ready, and then off we went, sort of thing. But I think back then, when you're sort of 12, 13, 14, you don't really appreciate the grandeur of things. You just go in there to do your job, and you just water off a duck's back, really, and you just crack on and get it done, so to speak. But yeah,
I guess it's different. Like 2004 was my first Worlds, and
okay.
I was an adult, and I just remember just seeing like Team GB and Region 18 coming in, like the spectacle and the sheer numbers of everyone.
Yeah, it's good fun. Good fun.
Yeah. So you mentioned people that you came up through the ranks. In seeing pictures from Great Britain and the European Championships, there's guys like Master Chappell, Master Reed. I know Gus Rogers. Obviously there's others.
I got loads of others. There's two of the big ones that really stand out to me is a guy called Les Hart. He's a fellow fifth Dan now, sorry, with me. He's a top boy. We've been through the ranks together, competed against each other an awful lot. And then there's another lad called Laterio Zamparelli. He stopped training at third degree. But yeah, we went through, and I remember those two so well because they were the hardest competition that we had. I'd be preparing an awful lot in case I had to fight them. So it was they're top boys, and like I said, Les Hart still does it, and I see him quite regularly, speak to him quite regularly as well. So yeah, he's a top competitor, top master as well.
Yeah, there was definitely people in my ring that you train for those people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
And when you see him in the ring, it's like, oh, all right, here we go.
Here we go. Yeah. Good fun.
You mentioned your dad. Was there anyone else in your family that trained?
Yeah, there was. My mum, she got to Edan. She got to a second Dan, but she had knee problems. She had knee surgery, and she wasn't very good. She was a vicious fighter. My mum, absolutely vicious fighter. Yeah, I remember her first tournament that she ever went to. She was a white belt. Obviously, older. Sort of, she would have been about 40 at the time, maybe, and she was put in the younger female division. It's like 17 to 39, I think the division was at the time. And my mum got a kick to the chin, and it knocked her out. I mean, like completely knocked her out. But she got up, and then she went on and she won the division. So it was just like, yeah, my mum's hard as nails. So yeah, yeah. But yeah, mum trained at Edan. My dad did Tang Sado, believe it or not, with Master Khan way back in the day. Like when Master Khan first opened a club in Ramsey, which Master Whiskin now teaches. I think they trained above a bank. And ironically, my dad stopped training to spend more time with my mum because my mum was whinging at him. So small world, crazy how things sort of work out, And who'd have known all these years later I'd be here.
That's right. So talk to us about Master Khan and being able to train with him and being, having him as a role model and leader.
Well, it's very difficult to put into words because everyone knows Master Khan and that everyone thinks amazing things of him. And the thing is that what people think and what people hear and what people say never actually measure up to what it's like. I consider myself incredibly lucky to be born in my town, so I'm so close to where Master Khan teaches. I've had that privilege to be able to train under him for so long. So that he wasn't my first instructor. A guy called Colin Cotton, who I mentioned earlier, was. And then, long story short, through different events, I ended up transferring over to Master Khan after Colin Cotton had retired. And I just remember about him being this big person, because on our flag was a picture of Grandmaster Shin and Master Khan. So always bowing to him, seeing him at gradings. He'd be the one that shakes your hand at competitions, but I never had really spoken to him. So I remember going to my first class with him, like, all quite timid. I don't know where to look and where to go, but it seems as though ever since I started training with him, my development is massive. And it's not just development in terms of Tang Soo, it's development in terms of life as well. I think he's had a real big impact on my life about how I conduct myself, how I carry myself. When I first started training, I was about one of 20, 25 people that started, like in my school group, basically. I'm the only one left. And I'm the only one that had the input from Master Khan. And really, some of my parents and some of my people who I started joining Tang Soo with, some of them are in jail, some of them are in deadbeat jobs, and all this is discipline and that structure and that need to impress and need to do well. It sort of really kept me on the straight and narrow. So much so, I'm a police officer by profession. So yeah, you can't get much sort of doing goody than me. But yeah, training with him was an absolute privilege. And I often say he's like a second father to me. He really is. And the amount of respect and love I have for that man is quite something. And furthermore, he actually saved my Tang Soo career. I was 11 years old, 12 years old, I think maybe. It was before that picture of me, the Europeans like that. I didn't bow to a black belt at a gut testing because he was in plain clothes rather than his suit. And that black belt just happened to be my instructor at the time. And he wanted to kick me out of the association, like totally kick me out. Like if I wanted to train again, I'd have to start as white belt. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Is it really sort of worth going back to square one again? And Master Khan had a word. Next thing you know, I transferred over to him, and here I am 25 years later. And best decision ever made. Best decision. And been forever thankful to him for that. And never will be able to repay him. Even though he'll still say that I'm the reason he's got a bad shoulder, but it's not my fault it's happening. You know that. It's not my fault. All right. So
I always remember those when I had my instructor on. Someone asked like, "Oh, do you have a memory from Master Watson?" And I was like, "Yeah, I remember when I threw him and hurt his shoulder." Like, that's the memory you come up with.
Yeah. Master Khan still calls me out on it today. He still calls me out on it. So.
You wouldn't expect anything less, right? That's amazing. One of my favorite stories, or one of my favorite quotes from any of the interviews that I've done was Master Khan, said that my family and people call me a legend. And he's like, I'm not a legend. I'm just a normal guy. And
it's that humility that we love. Nobody likes someone saying I'm the greatest, I'm the best, you're all as good as you are because of me. Nobody likes that. It's right. Easy to dislike that. It's that humility that sort of drives him. So, and which is why he's got such a loyal student base, which is why there are, don't get me wrong, there've been a couple of people who've got lost, but 95% of the people that have ever trained Master Khan stay with him. So, and there's good reason why.
I mean, if you look, just look at the GB Tang Soo page and the prolific list of masters. That's not many people can say that they've helped produce that many, master instructors. So I'm getting lots of pictures. I see if for this one pops up. I'll make it.
Yeah. That's getting my fourth dan. Get my fourth dan masters. Yeah.
They're people are they're sending all sorts of stuff.
Hopefully nothing bad.
No, nothing bad. No, just great memories. Great memories. Couple comments here. In this is this Amy Geel says, "Mom, definitely a tough cookie." Your sister,
That's
yeah,
my
I figured
sister. Yeah.
She said, "Mom's definitely a tough cookie." That's awesome. You can see, like, my mom got knocked out. She got up and beat everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. And then Master Janet Silk says hello.
Hi, Janet. How are you?
So yeah, just Master Martin Silk said one of the toughest I faced. Great matches.
He's too kind. He's too kind.
Yeah.
Martin doesn't do himself justice.
Yeah, I had a great time talking to him, and he's another one where, he's probably about the same age as you, and
he is, yeah, he is. I think he's older though, Martin. You are older, remember that. So
just put that out there, Martin. You're probably one of the first generations of martial artists that started. I mean, there were some exceptions, guys like Master Valentin that started young earlier, but that are started so young. I mean, it probably doesn't feel real to think that you've been doing this for over 30 years.
Now it does. It does now.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's been a massive part. I've spent 3/4 of my life doing Tang Soo Do.
Right.
And, it's often cliche and quite corny when people say it's a way of life, but it really is. It really is. When Grandmaster Shin made the 5 codes, the 7 tenets, the 14 attitudes, they weren't just throwaway statements. They were like proper things to live your life by. And which is why I say that Master Khan has shaped my life. And not just Master Khan, I will add my Tang Soo mum as well, Master Dawn. Can't forget you. Absolutely cannot forget you. But it's like their teaching and their tutorship has played a big part in my development and just how I conduct myself and carry myself as a man, I think, today. And it's, you sit there and you think 28 years I've been doing this. But you know what? Have my time again? No questions. Do it all again. Mistakes and all again.
You mentioned Master Dawn. This day last year was when I talked to her.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, August 3rd of 2020.
1 year anniversary.
That's right. Yeah, she was amazing to talk to, and they've been both Master Khans have been so supportive of this project, and I really appreciate
good idea. It's great.
So you're talking about teaching. Can you remember back to when you first got the chance to help out, like teaching a class this team?
Well, not really. I can't remember the first time I've taught. Obviously, I'd help my instructor at the back of the class. Every now I help Master Khan at the back of class every now and then. If somebody wanted some help with something, I'd help them. But my sort of introduction to teaching was kind of thrown in at deep end. There was a master that was part of the American Air Force, Master Lopez, Arthur Lopez, and he had got a club, but he'd been recalled to America for the American Air Force duties. And he said, I've got this club, why don't you take it? But I was only 15 years old at the time, so I wasn't old enough to get an instructor's license, an instructor certificate, all the necessary insurances you have to have either. So my mum, bless her heart, stepped up as a chodan, but I did majority of the teaching under her supervision. And that was sort of my introduction to teaching, was like, well, there you go. And get in front and get cracking. I love it. So I've always been a competitor, but being an instructor is a very, very different sort of sensation, really, because you do feel for your students. You really do feel for them, and you try and make them excel. It's very different sort of teaching adults to teaching kids. Kids don't really, in my experience, kids don't really mind too much unless they get a trophy or a physical reward or something at the end of it, and you can see the delight and joy in their faces. But adults, obviously, have got a bit more grounding to them. But instructing, I love it. I'm sometimes a bit crazy with them, causing mum to worry about the insurance a few times. But yeah, I love instructing as well. I love instructing.
Yeah, I think most people have that same, like, there's no like just dipping your foot in the water.
No.
Most of the time you just get thrown right in. Like, people ask,
absolutely,
like, well, when's the classes, the instructors classes happen? It's like, and we do those from time to time, but most of the time it's like, come in, it's like, hey, I need you to teach this group.
Yeah. I don't ever think you're no one will ever say, I'm ready to be an instructor. I think it's right. You need to go open the club. Here's the club. Off you go. I think it's very much that kind of get out there, get it started. I think half the problem is we get too much involved in our own heads, and we can say, am I good enough? Am I not down, start creeping in? And it's just like, well, no, you're in the position, get on with it. Just start. And then you learn as you go. And then obviously you take it all from there and take every experience as a new one.
Yeah, for me, it was always, I look back and it's like, well, I got put in this position by my instructor.
Yeah.
And they believe that I'm ready for it. So I must, I'm just going to.
You can't let them down. You can't let them
right.
down. It's like, get it done. Get it done. So
you just say, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And
yes, sir, indeed.
So what about now? Was that the same? Is it the same club that you started with?
No, I've moved on. So I was 15. I taught there until I was 19 years old. Then passed the club over to my cousin, Master Robertson. I then went away to university. Where I studied and got my qualification. And then after moving around in a few different places, I kind of settled back in Cambridgeshire. So I've lived in about 5 or 6 different places around the country, but I've ended up moving back to my hometown. So I've got a club that's like a little way away. But teaching is very difficult because of my profession. I do shift work. I'm a single parent as well, and I've got lots of commitments with work and other bits and bobs as well. So it's tough, but I'll try and make time for it. So, yeah.
Now you mentioned that Master Robertson's your cousin.
He is indeed, yeah. He is indeed, yeah. Master Ashley Robertson.
Yeah. Did you get him started in, or did he start on his own, or how'd that work?
I don't know. Maybe inadvertently, maybe. I think I was doing it obviously before he was, because he's 4 years younger than me. Gotcha. Despite the fact he probably looks about 4 years older than me. I think he may have just sort of started, but I wouldn't want to say he started because of me. I think that I don't really know why he started, to be honest. He's just always been there. So that's the best way of describing it.
Yeah, that's cool. I have my oldest daughter started with one of her cousins, and they're both still going. My daughter just got her EDON.
Congratulations.
And then my niece just pre-tested for EDON. So it's nice. Cool to be able to have that, family bond.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So can you tell us maybe the first time, or maybe some memories of meeting Grandmaster Shin?
So I was doing some research into this, trying to find dates and all the rest of it. So the first time that I can remember meeting Grandmaster Shin would have been at the Masters Clinics, the European Masters Clinics that we had. Obviously, I trained with him, but you're there as hundreds of other people, so you don't really get much one-to-one time with him. So I remember training with him at the European Masters Clinics. The first one I want to say was probably in Cambridge, 2003 or 2004. I want to say one of those two. It was just amazing to see the different side of him, the instructor side of him, the technical side of him, and also the evening lectures that he led. And that was when Qigong had started to be introduced into the World Tang Soo Do Association around that time as well, and seeing that side. So it's really sort of opening your mind up, because before then, all I'd known Tang Soo Do was kick, punch, forms, swords, and that was sort of pretty much it, really. But then you start opening your mind up to these other concepts of the martial art, as you're supposed to as a Sandan. And I just remember, like, one good memory I've got with him was in a master clinic in Germany, and we were doing sword cuts, and Grandmaster Shin wasn't very happy with the group because we weren't having our sword in the proper place. And so he said, okay, everybody, 1,000 cuts overhead, has to stop at a particular point. And he'd come by me, tap me on the shoulder and said, oh, well done, that's really good. And, those little things sort of stick with you. Me and Master Hart, he both said that to us, and that sort of, me and Les talk about it even now, those kind of things. But I've got a picture of him when I was 11 at that same European Championship you showed a photo of earlier. I've got a picture in there, and just the warmth and the love he had for kids and Tang at the time, you can see shining through that picture. So, but yeah, first memories of him were at the Masters Clinics for sure, and it's just an awe of him, an absolute awe of him. So yeah,
it's great. And you know, it's those memories and things that we try to share through these interviews, because obviously he's not around, and you know, there's a generation of people that will come up as, you know, 3rd, 4th degree, 5th degree black belts that never spend any time with him, which is crazy to think about.
Such a shame. Such a shame.
But yeah, you know, sharing the memories of him is you know, one of the main reasons why I like to do these interviews and then ask about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about Grandmaster Bodwin? Did you get to spend time with him at all?
Yeah, I did. Grandmaster Bodwin presented me with my 4th degree masters in Germany 2013, and I'd been judged by Grandmaster Bodwin a couple of times prior to him in competition, but hadn't really had chance to spend much time with him. Then he came over on that first Masters Clinic in 2013, and I was blown away by him. Such a warm, kind, welcoming individual. But you looked at him and you know he was strong as an ox, and you knew his stuff. And there again, with our leaders, with our higher leaders, they seem to all have an aura about them. You can't really explain it. It's just like, you know that they know their stuff, and you know that they know what they're talking about, and they're imparting wisdom onto you, and you can't help but be drawn in by that, you know. One memory I have with Grandmaster Bodwin was we were doing a prep session in 2019 for my 5th degree test. And in the prep session, you sort of say to yourself, right, take it easy, don't put much effort in, save your energy for tonight. But then Grandmaster Bodwin comes and watches, and he sits opposite me, and I'm just like, well, you can't go easy, can you? So you absolutely go for it. And I don't think I've ever been as tired in my entire life. So, but one of the things that always touched me about Grandmaster Bodwin was how much of a sort of humanitarian he was. It was that how much of a personable man he was. You know, like, I remember not long after Grandmaster Shin had passed away, he came to a Masters Clinic over in Europe, and he was talking about Grandmaster Shin. There was a few things I noticed how he called Grandmaster Shin Mr. Shin, because that was his relationship with Grandmaster Shin, how highly he spoke of him, of Grandmaster Shin, and that was really sort of touching. And you know, it kind of drew similarities in me, really, how Grandmaster Bodwin saw Grandmaster Shin is how I kind of feel about Master Khan and Master Dawn, and that kind of relationship, and that sort of, you know, so I sort of drew personal levels with Grandmaster Bodwin as well, and the man's knowledge was immense. The man's, you know, he's a 1st generation student in you know, of Grandmaster Shin. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I love listening to his stories, and then getting to see the other side of him outside of his dobak. I know Master Marco shared stories of doing the Tang Sudo band with him and Master Whiskin.
Playing guitar. Grandmaster was playing guitar. Yeah.
Were you there for that?
Didn't get off the mic, so yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, it's those memories that, like we talked about earlier, it's like you're not just a grandmaster or a master. Like, you know, there's more layers than some people realize.
Yes, you know, whatever belt you wear around your stomach doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So I think Mr. Miyagi said the belt's only there to hold your trousers up.
That's right.
I don't think there's anything else. It's you know, a belt's a belt. It doesn't really matter, does it?
That's right.
What you are on the inside and what you show. So
yes, sir. One of Master DeMarco from Region 8 always says you wear your belt around your heart. And
yes, sir, yeah.
I always love that. If anyone's watching and has a question for Master Harper, feel free to share. I know.
Make them easy, please.
I got a message from Lindsay Dudgeon, and she mentioned that you know, you hold a spot in their heart for working with their son Jacob.
Bless him. He's a good lad. He's a good lad, Jake. he's a good lad. Sorry, Jacob. He's a very good lad.
Yeah. Hopefully they got him off his Switch to watch the interview.
I'll come over there and kick him off it if he wants.
That's right. Yeah, you let him know, Lindsay. If he's not watching, you better be checking this out. One of the other ones that one of the questions I had that is kind of an interesting one that I don't always ask. Any stories of testing, like testing stories or fun training?
Testing, not so much. So I've been thinking about this one. Testing, not so much, but certainly training. I've got a few stories of training. So there was this one guy I used to train with. His name was called David Adams. He was profoundly deaf, couldn't hear a thing, and we would mess around sometimes in line. Very bad. Juniors don't do that. But we'd mess around in line, and he'd blow kisses to me. We used to train in front of mirrors. We used to have mirrors in front of us. This was at St Ives on a Friday night. He'd blow kisses to me, and I'd blow a kiss back to him. But Master Khan would catch me, so I ended up doing push-ups at the back. So he'd do this sort of stuff to me. But I got him one night, and Master Khan would say, "Okay, everybody, basic form 1," and go, "Yes, sir." And David would look at me and say, "What we doing? What we doing?" I said, "We're doing Jindo." Jindo. He goes, okay. So obviously first move Jindo, step back, high X block, loud key up, big stamp. So there we are. Master Khan goes, Hana, and we go, and he goes, ah! And obviously he's the only one that's doing it. And he goes back and gets push-ups as well. So it's good stories like that. I've got some, and just similar sort of playing practical jokes on it. Master Hart and I had fun with, God rest his soul, Master Benate and John Hazelden as well, doing similar, just playing practical jokes on each other and getting caught out by the instructor, just being like 30-year-old kids really, more than anything else. But sort of testing to me was always like sort of serious face on, and one of the good things I find about all those people I've mentioned is that we'll have a laugh and joke, but as soon as Chin B's on, boom, serious face. It's game face, let's go kind of thing. We all take our training pretty seriously, but when we're not doing anything, we'll have a bit of a laugh and joke and try and play jokes on each other and try and get caught out by Master Khan, which is always funny. So, yeah. So,
I'm sure he really appreciates that.
Absolutely, yeah. He did.
Lindsay let me know that he is listening and training tonight. So,
oh, good lad. Tell him to get his pads on. All right.
Master Don says, "Can you share when you were on the TV show Mad for It?"
Oh, goodness me. Yes, we had a TV program that come to our local club, and I was a team captain against the 2-time world grand champion, Master Noreen Khan, being on another team. So I already was at a disadvantage, even though she hadn't been world grand champion yet. And we had to do this relay race. We broke boards and all the rest of it. And long story short, my team lost. Still not bitter about that at all. And for my pleasure of losing, I got a cream pie in face live on national TV, which was great fun. So yeah, didn't get teased at all about that at school for the next couple of weeks. So it tasted nice though, which is the main thing. So
I want to know how have I not gotten that picture? Someone needs to find that picture for me.
I've made sure that one doesn't come out. So,
I need someone to do some detective work and give me a picture.
I'm sure Master Khan's on it right now. So.
That's funny. How did something like that come up? What was the show?
I don't know. I think it was an after school show.
Okay.
Basically, kids from different clubs, not just Tang today, but different part would do activities for entertainment purposes for other kids, and. They came by Huntingdon Recreation one day, and because we were training, one thing about any of Master Khan's classes is plenty of key ups all the time. And this TV producer just so happened to be walked past the training hall when we were training. And every time all he could hear was, yeah. And he was like, well, what is that racket, basically? Stuck his head in and then said, yeah, why don't you come on this TV program, I think? And then the rest is history. Then I got a cream pie. So yeah, good.
It's funny you talk about the key up, and Master Christina Olsen chimed in earlier, and she said that she was out of martial arts and went to a yoga class, and above or below was a class, and she heard a key up, and she immediately was like, I'm in the wrong room.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
there's something, it's like you said, like it would be so weird to do class without key ups.
Oh, it has been. We
Um,
have been for the past couple of months since the easing of COVID regulations in England. We haven't been able to key up in class, and it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. But now we're back to it. It's just like, yeah, singing voices on. Let's go. So
that's right.
yeah, it's good. Good.
Yeah, there's nothing like a loud key up to
Absolutely. Yeah.
get you moving. um, you talked earlier about your profession being a
Yeah.
police officer.
Yeah.
Where did that motivation come from? Was that something that you always wanted to do, or?
I don't know really. So I was at university at the tail end of my degree, and I wasn't really sort of enjoying it no more. And I think, do I really want the next 40 years of my life to be working doing this? And at the time, it was 2009 when I graduated, the credit crunch had just started to come over to England. And it was like, well, it's a self-employed business. Am I really going to be able to support myself at that time? So I thought, well, the police are recruiting. Why not? So I went over, blagged my way through security, and ended up coming down. A high-ranking police officer came downstairs and told me off and said, what are you doing in this building? We should be arresting you. And I thought, well, it goes one of two ways, really. I can be pretty obnoxious and get myself arrested. Probably not a good idea. Or I can just turn the charm on. So I turned the charm on, and next thing you know is 6 months later, I'm starting as a police officer. I absolutely love it. It's something about helping the community that you're trying to support through everything. You know, I think that the police over in England are a lot different to the police over in America about some of the stuff that goes on. But I love my job. I'm a detective sergeant, and I work in some sort of pretty serious stuff that goes on. Well, by our standards anyway, some pretty serious stuff that goes on that I have to look into every day. And I've always found that Tang is just a nice vent, a nice sort of way to get out and key up and kick and punch. It's always been my sort of de-stress, really, like through emotional hard times, through like the through like breakdowns of relationships in the past, through not getting the grades I wanted to in a particular exam. I've been able to come back to Tang Soo, work, and it's just taken my mind off of everything, and it's been like that. But no, police officer, yeah, love it, absolutely love it. Been here for 12 years now.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, I love what you said. I was talking to someone recently, and they were talking about being stressed, and it's like, will help you with your stress, like get into class.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah,
Absolutely.
but I haven't done it. No, just come and train.
Yeah, coming back after COVID is hard work. It's hard work, but it's, you know, it's that I've got that fire in my belly again. Come on, I need to do more. I need to do more. I need to do more. So yeah, it's good. Good. Wouldn't change for the world.
It doesn't matter how hard it is. Like, it'll be worth it in the end.
Absolutely. Yeah. Always.
Yeah. Master Don says our students have realized how important to our Tang Soo Do training a key up is, especially with our energy and all we train with.
True. Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that's one of the hard things. I try to make it fun for kids when they first come in, because it can be kind of awkward, or kids,
yeah, always turn into a game. I always pop a Bruce Lee key up out when I'm teaching them the first time. Always, it just gets them off. It gets them giggling, and then they're next thing you know, 2 sessions later, they're key upping louder than what you are. So, yeah.
And then they ask you who Bruce Lee is.
It's like, no.
That's why I always
get out.
Whenever I'm teaching the Hanchis and I do this back fist, I was like, it's like like the Bruce Lee back fist. And
yeah.
So if you don't know what that is, go figure it out.
I told my juniors before COVID they needed to educate themselves and watch the Karate Kid. So, and yeah, a couple of them come back and said, yeah, but you could beat Danielson up. I said, no, Danielson is amazing. So.
Yeah, one of the guys I used to work with, he would give new students. Like he went to a store and found copies of the Karate Kid for cheap. So he would give students copies of the Karate Kid
really?
when they came
Oh,
in. Yeah.
yeah. What's that store? What's that store?
Yeah, right.
I'll give it
Outside
when they
DVDs.
sign their membership. When they sign their membership, they get a copy of the Gut Manual and a copy of the Karate Kids.
Yes, yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Master Priest used to do that. That's awesome. So you mentioned earlier in passing about your fiance. You just got recently engaged, right?
I have, yeah.
Congratulations.
Engaged. Yeah, thank you very much. My lucky boy, and she'll say she's a lucky girl, hopefully. Yeah, she's a good girl. She's very good. She supported me an awful lot recently, especially through this last year. I won't go into it, but it's been a tough year. It's been a tough year, and yeah, it's all good. It's all good. She's amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's also helpful. Well, I guess when you start dating someone, you're like, look, this comes with this Tang Soo Do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've already had that chat. It's like there are certain things with me. I said, right, what you need to know about me is I'm a police officer. I'm a martial artist. This is important to me. This is really important to me. And the way I look at it is that, and I learned this with my ex-partner, is that if somebody tries to take you away from your passion, you soon start losing yourself, and you soon stop becoming the person who you're supposed to be. And that's like, and this one, she's pretty amazing. Anyway, I won't go too much into it. I'm not trying not to be too emotional.
No, you're good. Yeah. Oh, it's people like that when you cry and
No, I'm not going to cry. No way.
I've had a couple.
Forgive me.
That'll be the next screenshot. You crying. I've had a couple. Master Giselle Sharp was the first person that cried.
Oh, bless her heart.
Yes, yeah. Awesome. We're getting close to our hour mark, believe it or not. Thanks for joining me.
No, you're welcome, Sammy.
If there's anyone else that has anything that they want Master Harper to talk about, or sir, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you wanted to touch base on? You said you wrote some notes, so
I did write some notes. Yeah, I did write some notes. The stuff I wanted to say. I'm just so one of the questions you sort of written to me before was about the community, the Great Britain Tang Soo community.
Yes.
And why it's so strong. And it's quite simple. It's Master Khan and Master Dawn, really. I've watched a couple of your interviews now. Master Silk and Master Alan also mentioned this. There are points where Master Khan steps above his role as an instructor, which is why the loyalty is so strong to him, and to Master D. And that's why it's so good. And the fact is that we are one big family, from words of encouragement from Master Wiskin, Master Carter, from the senior masters, to growing up with people like Master Hart, Master Benate, Laterio Zamparelli, Donna Harvey, to name a few. And then to see the newbies coming through that we've got at our end, Bradley Durnley and Ryan Benate as well. It's just, it's very much a sort of a good time for us over at GB Tang Soo Do. I'm very much looking forward to, now this COVID restrictions are gone, we can get back to some sense of normality, to going back and beating each other up at the end of a class. So looking forward to it.
I know Master Khan sent me a message earlier. He said he's always been very proud of you.
Don't stop it.
I gotta share it. Come on, man.
Stop it. That means more than he ever knows. So yeah.
So I'm sure he knows it. Have you outside of the World Championships, have you gotten a chance to travel and train or teach in other places?
Unfortunately, no. I come from my mum and dad are both, how we say, like, working class. Sure. My dad's a semi-skilled worker, my mum's an unskilled worker. So a lot of the and this is where I've got to put a massive thank you on to my sister, believe it or not, Amy Jill. She's Amy and my mum sacrificed holidays so I could go to the World Championships a number of times. And that's at the time you don't really think about it. because you're in the moment. But now you look at those sort of things and it's amazing. So we didn't really get family holidays when I was younger. It was all Tang Soo, and often it was just my dad and I would go to the World Championships because we couldn't afford to go anywhere else. So in terms of traveling, no, I don't haven't had that much experience of going elsewhere. I've always dreamed to, I've always wanted to, but it's just finding the time now, unfortunately, with my job, and now that fact I've got a little girl as well, single dad and new fiance, and all these other plans that are going on, it's very, very difficult. But every time I go on holiday, I look for places, but there's just none there. I think my fiance does it on purpose. She probably went onto the Tang Soo website and made sure there was none there. Otherwise, she'd lose me. I'd be gone.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you ever make it over to Region 8, you have a place to train and stay.
Don't you worry. I'll be knocking on your door.
Taz Zimram said, super proud of you.
Tazzy, hello.
Master Harper, aka Benny Boy, we truly love you. A true asset to the GB Tang Soo Do family.
Oh, bless her. Miss you, Tazzy.
And Natalie Walker says we have the best masters.
Bless her. Bless her. Thank you, Natalie.
It's just World Tang Soo Do Association in general. You know, it's funny. I had thought, like, you know, I have some other friends that are martial artists and doing, you know, I could do interviews with others, but then I think is like we have so many great instructors here in our own association that I don't really have to go any outside or anywhere else.
I agree entirely.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me, Master Harper. I really appreciate you get a chance to chat with you and you know, learn something about you. I've got a list. I've got so many people that I can't wait to meet in person that I got a chance to talk with, you know, for an hour. And
well, I will come and find you at the next World Championships. I'll come.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that'll be a good time. You know, I'm looking forward. We have our U.S. Nationals. It's going to be here in Region 8, and I'm looking forward to seeing lots of people. I know some of the people from the States are coming.
Nice.
So looking forward to seeing some faces that I haven't seen in, you know, a year and a half, 2 years. It's exciting. So
hopefully you recognize them.
Yeah, right. Well, that's Facebook's helpful, you know. Absolutely, yeah. Well, yeah, thanks again, sir. Is anything else you want to finish off with?
Yeah, just thank yous. Thank you to Master D. Thanks to Master Khan. Thanks to all the GB Masters. And most importantly, thank you to my mum, my dad, my sister, and my fiance. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Appreciate you for tuning in. And Tang Soo, sir.
Thanks, sir.